Hey English students, this is a tutorial on Emily Dickinson's poetry. So what I want you to do is to go ahead and copy along with me as we go through this poem, The Soul Selects Her Own Society. And when we get done with this, what I want you to do is the exact same thing with this poem right here, because I could not stop for death. So I want to walk through this poem with you. We're going to be doing some drawing with this to capture some of the imagery. We will do a summary when we get done, and we're going to also include next the theme. And then the last thing, I want you to go back and kind of see how, pick apart, analyze how she put together her poetry using some of these techniques up here. So here we go. So this is called The Soul Selects Her Own Society. The soul selects her own society, then shuts the door to her divine majority, present no more. Well, one of the first things you should notice about her poetry is, of course, is this use of the dash, which is very unique, and it kind of emphasizes this idea of shutting the door. And as we reread this, what we see is it looks like the soul is actually doing something here. The soul selects her own society, so it must be the soul is like her, then shuts the door to her divine majority, present no more. So it looks like there's a majority. I think it's talking about people because we have society and majority. And so her, meaning like the soul, it's like the soul is shutting the door maybe to people, or that the soul is actually kind of like is shutting people out or including certain people. So what I did was I drew a picture here, my awesome picture of a door. Here's all the people. And so maybe this is her right here. And she's chosen a couple people, maybe like friends or something like that. She's included to be close to her. We know a little about Emily Dickinson and how reclusive she was and how she just let certain people into her life. So maybe that has something to do with it too. Unmoved, she notes the chariots pausing at her low gate. Unmoved, an emperor be kneeling upon her mat. Okay, well, it looks like she extends this metaphor that's happening here, and she's talking about now maybe like she's on this side over here, and she notes there's chariots outside at the gate. It's almost like a castle. And it looks like there's someone really important, like an emperor, that's kneeling upon her mat. So maybe like someone who's important out here hasn't been let in is now trying to get in. So I drew a little picture here of a castle, and maybe here's like a new person that's important, and maybe she spots this person, and this person's kneeling, trying to make it in, trying to get close to her. I've known her from an ample nation. Choose one. Then close the valves of her attention like stone. It's odd the way she capitalizes things, huh? Look at this. She capitalizes one and valves and stone. Maybe those words are more important. So she wants to try to emphasize those. But regardless of that, it looks like she continues on this metaphor. And this is these are hard two lines to understand. I've known her from an ample nation. Is it talking about the emperor? Is it talking about her, the soul, saying that I've known people like this that only shut people out from lots of places, choose one? Perhaps. But this is the important part. Then she says, then close the valves of her attention like stone. Maybe it's saying that she lets the emperor in and then closes the valve of her attention. She lets that friend in, and then there's nothing more. It closes the valve of her attention. I think this idea, like stone, the simile there, the comparison is really important. So I drew a little picture here. It's almost like once this person gets in, I'll draw this other person right here. That's it. And it's like stone. There's no more letting people in. Okay, so what I see with this poem is I see that basically, here's my summary. You might need to pause this, but Dickinson extends the metaphor of a soul like a person. Different people want to associate with the soul, but few are worthy. So that's the basic idea, or at least what's happening in the poem. And I think she's got a real message here. I think her message is this. I think her message, if I was to state this in a sentence, is this. Seems like the soul is stubbornly selective about whom she chooses to socialize with. In other words, the soul or this person is really selective about who she's going to be friends with. And I don't know if you agree with Emily Dickinson about this, but I think you could at least probably see this in real life. And I think she's really onto something here. I want us to go ahead and go through this and kind of see how she puts together some of her poetry and mark down some of these important ideas or techniques, rather, that she uses here. And I'm just going to kind of go through the poem uh, line by line. One of the things I noticed right here is there's definite rhyme. And we do see that with her poetry, and we do see it in this first stanza, that she definitely has rhyme. And the door and more, of course, rhyme. But we see something else too, that society and majority don't rhyme, but they're really close. This is approximate rhyme, or what we also call slant rhyme. So I'm going to write that down right here, that these two words right here are really close. And you're going to see this a lot, not only in her poetry, but you're going to hear it in your music these days. There are lots of musical artists, particularly in hip hop, rap, that use a lot of slant rhyme. It's a great way to do something that's not quite as cliche as rhyming things. Uh, so that's what I see a little bit in this first one. I also see the metaphor here, certainly, of the soul and society. So she uses this really powerful metaphor. And then, of course, there's imagery throughout. But let's keep going here. In the next stanza, one of the things I noticed that she uses was it really got, like I said, there's lots of imagery here. And now we've got chariots and emperor and all this that's happening here. I'm really picturing this in the second stanza. So we got that picture. The other thing that I noticed here about this stanza is this word unmoved. And this repetition looks like it's really important. Again, that idea of the soul doesn't move for people, it's unmoved. It's like a rock, not letting other people in. That's why I noticed there. The other thing I noticed in this last stanza, a couple things, is that I've known her from an ample nation. And I think that this is, at this point, we can definitely say this is an extended metaphor, meaning the metaphor continues on throughout the poem. And we certainly have some more slant rhyme. If you look at this one right here, nation and attention, notice how it doesn't perfectly rhyme. And then also right here, one and stone, the sound continues. So this is more examples of what we call slant rhyme. The last thing we notice here is this really powerful simile at the end, this use of figurative language. And it's really powerful, and it creates that image for us. Okay, that's it. I want you guys to go ahead and copy those things and do the same thing as we look through our next poem. Go ahead and flip your paper over, because I could not stop for death. Go ahead and draw some pictures there. Get yourself a summary and get, of course, the theme, and then go back and kind of look, how did she actually do that? Good job, English students. We'll talk in class.